Hello everyone, this is Gene and I'm back with another video. I'm actually outside right now, but I found a nice little quiet spot to sit. Mostly quiet except for the howling dogs in the background. Welcome to New York City! But anyway, this is going to be hopefully a brief video. I wanted to talk about briefly the recent Captain Marvel comic that came out. It's not part of the regular series. It's actually a one-shot that Marvel's doing for several characters. It's called The End, right? And it's just basically a one-shot, a what-if story of, characters meeting their end, right? Characters dying, doing heroic things. So anyway, naturally, given that they keep trying to push Captain Marvel as this marvelous character, as this, A-lister, which she's not, they gave her one, which I read, and it is not good. There are several issues I have with it, in particular the art and how it depicts biracial people who are half white. It doesn't do it well. There's one character who's supposed to be the daughter of Misty Knight and Danny Rand, and she looks nothing like Misty. There's no African American features, and looks basically like Danny Rand's opposite, sex opposite clone, right? Or opposite sex clone is the I think the proper term. But anyway, the part I really wanted to discuss was actually the character of Carol Rhodes, who is supposed to be in this story, Rhodey's daughter, right? James Rhodes, War Machine, his daughter. Now you might wonder why is her name Carol? Well, her name is Carol because she's named after Carol Danvers, right? Captain Marvel. Now you might be wondering, well, what's the big deal about that, right? That Rhodey named his daughter after the woman he's with, right? Well, here's the thing. The character of Carol Rhodes is not Carol Danvers' daughter. She's not the mother. The mother, presumably, is African American. And the reason I say presumably is because you never find out in the comic proper who the mother is. Her name's never given. We're only told that she is someone that Carol and I guess presumably the reader would know. It's never stated. It's never stated who it is. But given the visual design, the character design of Carol Rhodes, I'm going to lean on the safe side and assume that both of her parents are African American. Given the fact that she looks, at least in design, very similar to Jackie Briggs from the Mortal Kombat games, the MK10, 11, and all that. And she obviously has two black parents. So imagine Jackie Briggs, right? That's basically what Carol Rhodes looks like. So now we have this character of Carol Rhodes who is named after Carol Danvers, but she's not Carol Danvers' daughter. She's the daughter, presumably, of a black woman, which means that Rhodey named his daughter after his ex-girlfriend. Because him and Carol didn't work out, apparently, according to the story. Or, yeah, they didn't work out if he's having a child with another woman, right? What I can't believe is that Kelly Thompson wrote this. She wrote a storyline in which a man names his daughter, after his ex-girlfriend. Unless the man is looking to get seriously hurt, what man in his right mind does that? What woman who is sane, rational, well-adjusted, has a good sense of worth, allows her daughter to be named after another woman? Women don't like to come second place to anything in a man's life. We don't want to come second place to his job, his friends, his hobbies. What the hell makes Kelly Thompson think that a woman wants to have her daughter be named after his ex-girlfriend that he quite obviously never got over if he's naming his daughter after her? What woman in her right mind would tolerate such a thing? Would permit it? In the real world, if a man does that, the relationship is over. If they're married, divorce papers are in the mail. She's probably throwing stuff at him. That would not fly for a second in the real world. I don't know of any woman who would be tolerant of such a thing. And I cannot believe that a woman actually wrote this and plays it off as, oh yeah, mom, this is what Carol Rhodes says. Yeah, mom didn't quite like it when dad would say Captain Marvel was like the best woman that he ever knew. No duh. No duh. She didn't like it. He's praising his ex-girlfriend. Like, what's one of the biggest issues in relationships, right? Constantly talking about your ex. Constantly comparing your current lover to your ex. Especially in a positive light. No freaking wonder. No freaking wonder she was upset. And what drives me crazy is that just the fact that Kelly Thompson wrote this is bad enough, right? That she had a woman be tolerant enough of a man naming their daughter after his ex-girlfriend that he obviously never got over. But on top of this, right, maybe it would be a different situation if it were like, say for the sake of example, like Jessica Drew and Rhodey had a kid. Maybe you could justify it in that sense, being that they both love and have a relationship with Carol in different ways. So if she's dead or gone off world or whatever it is, and they want to remember her, I could guess it happened in that sense if they both knew her. But that's not indicated in the story that the mother knew Carol. So overall, the mother knows the father of her child dated a superheroine who happens to be famous, and he never got over her, and then named their daughter after her. Again, I just can't believe she wrote that. But more importantly, and I don't usually bring race up in these things, but I do think it's warranted here. Rhodey is a black man. He presumably had a daughter with a black woman. And then he named that daughter after his white ex-girlfriend. Kelly Thompson, did you speak to any black people when you wrote this? There has to be at least one black person in Marvel. There has to be. Did you speak to any black person in Marvel? Because what in the world makes you think this would fly in the black community? He would be excommunicated out of the black community. His mama would disown him. Any female members of his family, he's gone. He doesn't exist anymore. I want to make clear, interracial dating is a very controversial subject in the black community still, even in the modern day. And especially the idea of black men dating white women, because many black women feel that when a black man does that, he's basically turning away from the sisters, and they view it. I want to be clear, I am not saying this is the truth. I'm saying this is how it's perceived, but it is perceived by many African American women that if a black man does that, he dates a white girl, right? And even if he makes a family with her, they view it as, oh, you couldn't handle a strong black woman, could you? So you went to a subservient white girl. That's how it's viewed still by many women in the black community today. Kelly Thompson, do you realize how offensive this could potentially be to black women, to black female readers? How they could perceive this. Again, did you talk? There has to be one black person in Marvel. There has to be somewhere. Did you think for a second to speak to a black person about how this would be received by their family, by their friends, by their community? Did you think for a second to speak to any other women other than you and your artist, who apparently doesn't know what in the heck a friggin' biracial person who's half white looks like, about how a woman, regardless of her ethnicity, how a woman would react to her man naming their daughter after his ex? Did you consult anyone? Did you think this through at all, Kelly Thompson? Because I don't think you did. And I want to be clear, I'm not upset at the idea of Rhodey naming his daughter after Carol Danvers in and of itself. That's not it. It's the circumstances leading up to it that make no sense. I think that Kelly Thompson could have actually written a pretty decent story had she just riffed off the Johnny Cage Sonya storyline from MK11, right? Captain Marvel's obviously gonna be the Sonya, in this situation, right? They look similar, have a similar background, similar personality, perfect fit. You have Rhodey in Johnny's place, right, as the father, the loving husband, right? You just have it play out that way, right? They get together, they have a kid, they try to make it work. She's emotionally unavailable. They end up getting a divorce because, you know, he wants a family, she won't commit, right? But he still hopes that, you know, they can still work it out because he's still in love with her, right? So you can just craft the story that way. Have the story itself be that, look, you know, they're meeting up again after several years. Their daughter's like a teenager, right? Maybe they're still lingering feelings there, and they're flirting with the idea of possibly getting back together. Then you concoct the situation that leads to her dying a heroic death. This is not hard if you actually think about it. You could actually craft quite the tragic love story out of this, even for a one-shot, if you think about it. If you think about it for more than 5 seconds, and you actually consider the ramifications of what you're writing. But this is what drives me crazy about Marvel's writers. At least their modern day writers. They don't think. They don't research, and then they wonder why their comics just sell less and less and less and less and less and less and less each month. I just had to get it off my chest. But anyway, that's the video. I hope you guys are having a good evening, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good night, everybody, or a good day wherever you are. Bye.